The first thing, you're gonna make sure you jumped. Like, that's obvious, right? You're gonna have to jump to use the ability, but what I mean is that you gotta make sure that Kitana's feet left the floor. Like, don't try to do it like jump and instantly do that, the flutter, because she hops sometimes, and you're gonna get a miss input, and all you're gonna do is this. If you try to do the advancing flutter like really quick and she hopped. So you gotta make sure like she left the floor, like she jumped, like she didn't hop, like she jumped. If she jumped, then you go for flutter. You can make it obviously lower, but you gotta get used to it first. You can also do it from the hop. It's a bit harder, but it's a really good option. So just to make sure, you're gonna jump and you're gonna do your flutter. Jump, flutter. For the purpose of training, I recommend doing the flutter on the top of the jump arc, like on the highest place she jumps. That's where you wanna use your flutter, and mostly in matches too, because when you do the flutter up here, most of the stuff in the game whiffs. I mean, not everything whiffs, but usually most stuff, like anti-airs. Let's say you do the flutter in this distance, and you're trying to jump in and get an attack. If she tried to anti-air me in that situation, she probably would have get hit. Sindel does have a pretty good down too, so maybe she would have hit me first. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of the trick to it. Like for starters, like try to get the jump arc thing, like on top of the jump arc. And as I was saying, you can just hop and do the flutter too. But it's hard. Like get used to doing it, like jumping, like whatever distance is. It doesn't matter what distance you jump, but I recommend like the top of the jump arc. But you can do it like, you know, it's not like it's not required to do it on the top of the jump arc, but it's the best option. You can also add jump 2 to make the timing easier for the flutter. You can do just jump 2 and then flutter. And you actually can use all the jump buttons. You don't have to use the jump 2 only. You can do jump 3 flutter, or you can do jump 1 flutter, or you can do jump 2 flutter, whatever. It works. Uh, and the reason you want to do this is because to me, it's easier for the timing. Like if you do jump 2 over here, like you can just time the flutter better. And not only that, if the opponent is trying to air you, you can usually hit them. And if you react on time, like let's say they jumped and you hit them, and you can just float and convert the combo. So we were talking about how you can just add another layer to your jump game by using any of the jump buttons. For example, you can use uh, jump 1 flutter, or jump 2 flutter, or jump 3 flutter. Or you can just do the flutter regularly, or short hop it. Like there's a lot of options, right? But those are not your only options. You can use any of the other Kitana options like the air fan and the ground war, or you can even do a combination of the three to add another layer to your air game plan. If I'm making sense, like you can do like jump 2 flutter and ground war to get some distance from your opponent, or you can do stuff like jump 1 back and then throw another fan to keep your zoning, to keep your distance for zoning. Like you basically control the screen with this variation. So you might want to add many of those game plans and combine them so you can mix your opponent, so you can guarantee that jump attack that you want to get so much, so you can combo from it. Because as we said, Kitana has to jump a lot in this game, in this variation, because she uses 2 slots for jumping ability. So you must try to jump the most you can. Like try not to be predictable, and if you're gonna be predictable, like then try to mix it up with the many options that she has. Because okay, your opponent knows you are gonna jump, but what are you gonna do when you jump? That's the real question. Another thing you're gonna want to use is station interactables that make you kind of jump, because you can combine it with the flutter and do stuff like this. Or you can use it as a pressure tool also on the ground and do stuff like this. And if your opponent presses in any of those instances and they react late, for example, they can get clipped with a full combo. You can get anti-aired if your opponent expects it, but if, like I said, if they react really late, which is usually the case, you're gonna get a full combo. Like it's really hard for an opponent to expect that, unless like you've done it in the match before. Advancing Flutter is not a common ability, and using the interactables for it is pretty strong, and it really is confusing. So they can see and try to anti-air, but if they try and do it too late, they're gonna get a full combo. So as far as combos go in this variation, you're better off doing the regular Kitana combos, because she does have some exclusive ones in this variation, like this one. But as you can see, they're not very damaging or anything like that. They just look very flashy. And you're using a meter, which you can honestly use on better stuff. For example, you can just do this one. You see it does more damage than just doing the regular Flutter one. But there is one combo that I like using a lot in this variation, and it's this one. I like using that combo a lot because, as you can see, it did 290 without using a jumping or anything like that. So if you get a jumping, it's higher than 300, which is a great combo. But not only that, if you notice the space I use in the whole combo, I practically pushed Sindel all the way to the corner. She's just a down 4 away from getting into the corner like this. And I already have her right here. And that's from mid-screen. Like we did the combo from here. Look at the space control. I'm sorry, look at the space control. You do have to spend the meter to get that extra distance, but you don't have to. You can just do the regular square wave. It's gonna do decent damage, but it's gonna push her a little bit farther. So when you do that, you probably want to zone instead, not go in like this. Oh, sorry. See? And from here, you're gonna want to zone and keep her in the corner. That's your best strategy with this. Okay, so you have two main plans on this variation, right? The first one is to start a zoning war, so Sindel has, or any other opponent that has a projectile, you can punish them, like when they do the projectile move. So you just start the match and you try to zone, so you try to bait their projectile, and when they use them, like, you're gonna approach and do the flutter and punish the projectile, like this. So that's one of the main options. Like, you must start the you must start the zoning war. Like, on the start of the round, you just zone, whatever. Just make them use their projectiles, and when you see that they're gonna use it, you just float and go in. The second strategy, well, it's a little bit more complicated and it requires you to be more aggressive, but it also works. Like, you can play defensively by zoning, or you can play offensively by just floating forward and attacking. I'm gonna show you an example right now. Like, the main reason I use this is because she jumps a lot, and once you hit this jump tree, your opponent has basically to hold whatever you throw at them. If they don't know how to flawless block the gap in between of the two kicks, I'm gonna do in between this. There's a gap. Oh, let me do it. There we go. There's a gap on the second kick. But you see that I did right now? The jump 3, forward flow, jump 3 into amplified air fan. Look at this. frame data for both. If I do that, I'm 0 on the block advantage. And not only that, it's not only 0, I can make it up to +3 or even +4 if I'm using the piercing dagger. And this is so good because you're gonna want to do that basically all the time you're using the flutter. You can mix it, you obviously have to mix it because you're not gonna be obvious all the time. But once you see the opportunity that, oh, I can jump in, like you're probably gonna want to go for this. Because if they try to attack after that, I'm just gonna put Sindel to do some random stuff from down 1 or something. Record, get a reverse. There we go. Let's see if she's blocking. She's not doing the reversal. So the reason you want to do that all the time, or basically most of the time, you're going on the offensive. Let me see, she's doing, yeah, she's doing that one. Let's say she's gonna try to attack after I do the jump. So this is what happens if Sindel tries to attack after the first jump kick. I didn't reach, but you get the idea. It all depends on the character and which attack they do, obviously. But in most cases, for the female characters, you're gonna want to do the delay the lower you can, because if you do it high, usually this happens. Oh, it worked, but usually they can hit you. But if you do it low, you're gonna have the advantage. It all depends, as I said, of the timing of the attack. It all depends on the character, on the button. Like, it's not a universal thing. But mostly, most of the females, you're gonna want to do the flutter after the jump kick the lowest you can. And for the male characters, you're gonna want to do it on the top. Like, it's, as I said, not all the cases, but most of them. So that's gonna be all for the Kitana guide on advancing Flutter. Thank you all for getting the channel to 5K subs. You guys are all amazing. I'm very grateful for that. Hopefully, we reach that 100K someday, but small steps. Hope you enjoyed the guide. Sorry it took so long because, work, life, real life stuff. I'm also playing other games. I'm playing Elden Ring and some other stuff. I haven't played a lot of games since I've been playing Mortal Kombat, and I'm kind of taking a break. So that's why you all are not seeing some uploads sometimes. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna leave YouTube or anything. It's just that I want to play other stuff, but I will be uploading occasionally. Uh, and this week I'm supposed to be doing the Colosseum uploads, and then after that, the occasional Combat League and whatever. Uh, I want to credit Gianni for the wake up roll tech. That tech is amazing. I want to thank Wailing Man for the amazing variations. Like they look very flashy. Like advanced Flutter with radio protection, with Fanado, and with dancing fans. They're not the best on on matches, but the stuff you can do with them is really really interesting. So hopefully you enjoyed this and recommend this guy to Kitana that wants to use the advanced in Flutter or just to anyone really, and recommend the channel. Hit the like button if you like the video, subscribe, and see you all later for Edenia.